Welcome back. So, before I can actually tell you about the different types of COVID-19 vaccines, I feel that you need a little bit of background knowledge on the adaptive immune system. Well, the adaptive immune system is really complex, and vaccines really only utilize one specific part of the adaptive immune system, the humoral immune response. The humoral immune response is the part of our immune system that really includes antibodies. So, let's take a look at the humoral immune response. It all starts with an antigen. What is an antigen, you may ask? Well, an antigen is a foreign substance that enters our body. This can be a pathogen like a virus or bacteria, or a part of a pathogen like a protein on a virus. So that's where we have our antigen. We start off with the antigen encountering one of our body cells and entering the cell. The antigen then gets cleaved by enzymes inside the cell into small antigen fragments. These antigen fragments are then taken by an MHC molecule to the external surface of the cell, also called the cell membrane, where it is presented, as you can see right here. The cell is now called an antigen presenting cell. Next, we have our first immune cell come into play, the T helper cell. What are T helper cells? Well, they're not your classic immune cell in that they don't release antibodies or they don't engulf pathogens. Instead, they orchestrate the humoral immune response. In fact, you could even say that they orchestrate the whole adaptive immune system. So the T helper cell, with the help of its T cell receptor right here, binds to the antigen on the MHC molecule. Once it fits properly, it releases small signaling molecules called cytokines. What are these cytokines? Well, think of it this way. Let's say you have a party at your house and you want to invite a friend. You have to communicate that to your friend in some way. This can be through text, email, even a letter. Regardless, it is a signal to your friend. Similarly, the T helper cell uses these cytokines to signal to its immune cell buddies, which is in this case the B cell, which is another type of immune cell. So the cytokines stimulate this B cell to divide multiple times and clone itself. These clones can go in one of two paths. They can either become a B plasma cell or a B memory cell. Although these two have very similar names, they both have distinct functions, and each function is very important. So first we have the B plasma cell. So B plasma cells have certain receptors on them called B cell receptors. They release these receptors and release antibodies. What are antibodies? Well, antibodies are basically markers. They bind to antigens and mark them. So they neutralize them and they mark them for other immune cells like macrophages to engulf these pathogens and get rid of them. So that's what antibodies are. They're very important. Now, B memory cells, they don't actually release antibodies. What they do is they store these B cell receptors and antibodies, as shown right here. They store them for later use so that if this antigen were to ever enter our body again, we would already have the antibodies necessary to fight it off. Why is this important? Well, you see, to actually generate these B plasma cells and antibodies to fight off this specific antigen, it actually takes a while for our body to generate the right antibodies and actually realize that we have been infected by a pathogen. Hence, we remain sick for a while. Our immune system needs some time to fight it off. But I'm sure you've heard that once you get a specific virus, if you were to get infected by it again, you would get healed much quicker. Your immune system would fight it off much quicker. And you can thank B memory cells for that. So that's the humoral immune response. Check out the next video where I'm actually going to discuss the different types of COVID-19 vaccines.